Hi, welcome to Main Street Macro. I'm Neela Richardson. Last week, my attention was pulled towards a spring event that I used to look forward to every year in my old stomping grounds of Washington, D.C., where I worked for a number of years. And yes, it was the Cherry Blossom Festival. I loved going to that every year. But there was also another event that happens around the same time. It's the IMF World Bank annual spring meetings. And in these meetings, leaders from around the world, from central banks and companies and finance ministries and NGOs, kind of convene in Washington, D.C. to discuss the most pressing global issues of our time. Now, one of those key outputs of those meetings is the IMF's annual spring forecast of global growth. And I thought it would be a good idea at this time in the year to take a deep look at that forecast. So here's the first of three things you need to know about what's expected for global growth. The first thing is that global growth is actually slowing. In 2023, global growth is expected to be about 2.8%. Now, that's a bit of a decline from where it was in 2022. And there is some good news here. It edges up next year in 2024 to 3%. Emerging markets like China and India are thought to lead and drive that growth, while advanced economies like the US and Europe and the UK are expected to have slower growth over the next 2 years. Now, the second key point about the IMF forecast is what's happening in the medium term, because the 5 year outlook for global growth is the worst on record, according to the IMF. It's expected to grow the global economy in 5 years at about 3%. Now, that compares to closer to 5% before the pandemic. What's driving this slowdown? Well, it's a number of things. One is higher interest rates. Second, it's concerns about financial system uncertainties. It's lingering inflation. And the biggie is geopolitical fragmentation. And so those key things are weighing down the 5 year outlook. But that brings us to the final thing that I think is important about highlighting about the IMF forecast and forecasts in general. First of all, it's just a forecast. In fact, I like to think of forecasts as a data driven guess or opinion. And we all know after the last 3 years, a lot can happen to change our expectations for the future. Here's one key thing: Main Street. I don't know if you know this, but small firms like the ones found on US Main Street actually are 90% of all firms in the global economy. And they are responsible for 50% of employment worldwide. So, a key contributor to global growth is actually Main Street. Main Street's firms in the US economy, which is the largest economy on earth. So, even though this outlook looks worse than it has before the pandemic, Main Street will say a lot about the eventual future of global growth. Well, to get a little bit more deep in terms of what Main Street expects, we have a new small business survey that'll be on our website today and next week. We're taking a deep dive into global employment and what workers are expecting over the next 5 years. So, a lot more to come about global growth and about Main Street. Thanks for watching the Main Street Macro. For more information on the week ahead, please check out adpri.org.